Cuphead Is Weird. But Daniel, this game is based on those wacky cartoons from the 30s who told Polly was to be wearing a surreal. Is it maybe a bad idea to make an Is Weird episode about it? Meh, meh, meh. Well, here's a question for you. Does this face look like it gives a fuck? If your answer is no, then congratulations. You win nothing. Cause I don't give a fuck. In this game, you play as Cuphead and his pal Mudman as they go and do work for the devil by getting the contracts of people who owe their souls. Makes you wonder why everyone sold their soul anyway. Like, why is Werner Werman in debt? He's a fucking rat. And how do you explain the Phantom Express? What would a fucking train need so much that it's worth selling their soul for? Well, whatever, I'm sure it's in the Cuphead wiki that I'm too lazy to read. Also, I wish I was a fly on the wall hearing the devil explain exactly who he needs to fight. Like, so first, you can fight some vegetables and flowers. Okay. Then, I want you to take down the theater performance some random frogs I found. Okay. Next, you'll take on a giant robot. Excuse me? A terrifying, but also kinda sexy sea monster. I'm just one cup here. A genie. What? And finally, a slime from Dragon Quest, cause why not? You're kidding, right? I am the devil. I don't kid. Besides, you really need me to take down vegetables? I don't really think you need to wait that long. They have a very short lifespan. Quit babbling and get to battling! You're sending a cop to fight a fucking dragon! Actually, now I wish I wasn't a fly on the wall, because Big D probably would have wanted my soul as well. To fight off these debtors, you have your choice of many magical abilities that you can buy from Porkrind's shop. I would question why not every single boss uses these same abilities, seeing how they're sold in a cheap-ass shop, but my theory is that they only work for cup people. I'm not saying it makes sense, but it is a theory. Either that, or we really are Porkrind's only customers. I would be sad for him, but he isn't exactly the friendliest guy as it is. You also have parrying as a power, which can nullify objects, instantly incinerate objects, or apparently bring the dead back to life. But it only works on pink objects, which, why would anyone even throw pink stuff at you when they know it can be parried? Kinda seems like there would be an unspoken rule about that. Like, the world would have basically outlawed pink objects if this existed IRL. Traverse through many different aisles that all have their separate unified themes, but not really. I mean, Aisle 2 is supposed to have a carnival theme, so it makes total sense to have genies, giant birds, and entire candy kingdoms. That's like every Saturday for me. Defeat bosses on these aisles or go to other parts of the world to go on a random killing spree. Fuck you, random flower, for trying to live. Also, does the devil just own all these aisles? The only way we could travel through them is if Blockhead McGee, aka his second-in-command, lets us through. I mean, that would explain why the devil seems to just live here instead of in hell, owning a whole-ass casino. No wonder everybody on these aisles seem to be in debt to him. He fucking rules the place. You probably owe him your soul by going to the grocery store. And now, there's one thing about this game that I've not talked about yet. The fact that you play as two sentient cups. This raises so many unimportant questions, my stupid meter is rising just thinking about it. Like, how do they have mouths? Where does the liquid end and the mouth hole begin? Why do they even have liquid in their heads? Why do they have straws to drink the liquid from their own heads in order to power up? Also, in their super art, they shoot a cannon load of the stuff at the enemy, even though their head supply of liquid is clearly less than when it's shot out. What is this liquid? From what I understand, there's two possible answers for this. The first and most obvious one for people who don't know better is sperm. If that's the case, then that could make the straw your penis. It would also explain why the liquid supply is so quickly and easily restored after your super art. But that would also mean that you're defeating enemies with your own jizz. And again, you drink it from the straw. Okay, forget I said all that. The second and probably the most likely answer is that it's milk. That will make the Cuphead species a type of mammal, with the straw being used for breastfeeding. It seems plausible enough, but then, why do male cups have such a steady supply? Normally with mammals, it's the females that house the supply of milk for breastfeeding. Are the gender roles reversed for this species? And actually, what about Miss Chalice? Is she part of the same species? If so, is this a case of extreme sexual dimorphism? If not, is she a different race of cup? And how about Elder Kettle? Is he also a different race, or does this imply that this species goes through metamorphosis at old age to turn from porcelain to skilled kettle? And also, how do we explain the fact that this milk of theirs never seems to fall out even though they do tricks and flips and all sorts of shit in battle? Also, we haven't even mentioned the fact that these things can switch between the astral and physical planes by eating a fucking cookie. Is this another power-up that seems to only work for cup people, or is this different? Also! Actually, scrap all that. That wouldn't exactly look good in the advertising. So as a quick summary, Cuphead is a game about two sentient cups fighting bees, birds, and Bebby the Clown for the devil, even though he probably doesn't need the help of two porcelain pricks to do that for him anyway. Did you get all that? Good. That was the simple stuff.